Hey guys, I am MG, and today I'll be looking at Rocky III, which is a 1982 American sports drama film that still has Sylvester Stallone playing the titular character of Rocky Balboa, who also returned to write and direct from his second film, which is about Rocky being trained by his old opponent, Apollo Creed, in order to beat his new opponent, James Lang. However, why don't we stop running and start reviewing right now? So, this is where some people feel that the franchise is going down in terms of quality, and while that's perfectly understandable, I don't think it's that much of a downgrade to be honest. Like, it has a bunch of really good aspects, and I think my favorite element of this film has to be Stallone's direction. It's not as fluent as it was in part 2, and the opening montage with the fading is not that great. I mean, it's certainly cool for an old film, but it was a little distracting to see a shot faded, put on another shot which wasn't. That was just a little janky in my opinion, but outside of that, I thought his direction was still solid, and all of the boxing scenes gained more tension because of it, so I think that makes up for the questionable fading in a montage. And speaking of the boxing scenes, they were really good. The montage where Rocky finds his balance was really satisfying, all of the fight scenes were really investing, especially the last one. I also thought that Rocky Balboa was still a really interesting character, and his personal struggle after losing Mickey was surprisingly really engaging, with Sylvester Stallone being very compelling in his acting, as per usual, and I kind of liked the bond he formed with Apollo Creed. It wasn't amazing, since there isn't much of a contrast between how he trains Rocky compared to Mickey, but I don't know. I thought it was nice how Apollo Creed actually cared about Rocky, and always pushes him to train harder and harder, with both of them eventually becoming really good friends. And I thought that was kinda sweet, with Carl Weathers being just as riveting as ever in his performance. I thought that Mickey dying was a very natural way to continue the story, and his death scene was honestly very sad, and that scene in a room with him and Rocky was also very sweet for both characters, which makes me invested in their relationship as a result. The scene with Hulk Hogan was really funny, since the wrestler tears Stallone apart, and then afterward, he is just a nice guy. That was funny. And it helps that he's more menacing than Lang, so take that for what it's worth. Plus, the music by Bill Conti was still really energetic, and it heightens all of the scenes it's playing in, especially in the montages. And the new song Eye of a Tiger actually slaps, as well as the new instrumental themes in the score. I dig it a lot. With all that said, this film has a few flaws, and one of them is the villain. Guys, be honest with me. Do you feel threatened by this villain? I mean, Apollo was actually menacing, especially in the second one, but James Lang is a bit of a lame, weaker version of Apollo, and Mr. T impacts nothing for his character. All he does is scream, and it sounds comical. At least the character is a good obstacle for Balboa, but I think the direction elevates that, and not the character or performance. And speaking of characters, Adrian and Pauline do nothing in the story, and their relationship with Rocky has basically lost all of its strong connection. They're both kind of just along for the ride, and while that one scene with Rocky and Adrian on the beach was one of the best scenes of the film, with it also being one of Talia Shire's best acting moments, everything else about the relationship was just unintriguing. I also feel like the writing could have been smarter. Like, we see Rocky being overconfident, and it's like, you can make a really interesting theme about his ego getting the best of him, but it doesn't happen very much. Or the scene with him and Pauline, what was the point of that? It showed how their friendship could be tested, but afterwards, it's forgotten about entirely. Why? And Mickey's death scene could have also been a little more effective if it did not happen straight after the fight. I can't focus on both Mickey dying and the fight at the same time, because it makes those aspects worse. And this is a breaking point for Rocky, which should be very effective, but instead, it doesn't reach its full potential. So, please just do them one by one, then both would be more effective. And all of these flaws make the first half a little bit boring, since it's very clear on how the writing could have made it more effective. Last flaw I want to mention is how this is basically the second film again, but with a much weaker execution. We see how Rocky's life is being affected, and Mickey's death causes him to be sad, and then he goes fighting, and this happened in the second film. Stop reminding me of how great the second film is. It just makes me want to watch that film instead. Overall though, the second half is definitely better than the first half, and even then, the first half isn't even bad. And the film itself is not infuriating, like other films I've reviewed. Besides, it still has plenty of strong aspects that make this film a pretty decent watch. Not great, but I sort of have a soft spot for it, and I would not mind seeing it again. So yeah, I'm giving it a 6.8 out of 10. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye!